Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jen Hagan, and I'm thrilled to be here today with my amazing team from Capstone One. Our team consists of Lisa Brownlee, Haley Crockett, Tom Drazba, Whitney Taylor, Krista Welch, and myself. Today we're diving into a topic that affects many of us, especially those in college, the relationship between stress and meal skipping. As students, we all know how academic pressures, social demands, and personal challenges can take a toll on our well-being. But what happens when this stress starts to impact our eating habits? Our research explores just that, how stress may lead college students to skip meals and how these behaviors could affect their health in the long run. So let's get started and explore how stress and meal skipping intersect in the lives of college students and what we can do about it. College students face significant stress from academics, social pressures, and personal challenges. This stress impacts various aspects of health, including eating patterns, which may lead to behaviors such as skipping meals, overeating, and emotional eating. The pressures of coursework, exams, financial outcomes, career outcomes, and social adjustments exacerbate this stress. Survey responses have found that the majority of college students skip at least one meal throughout the day. These behaviors can contribute to nutrition-related diseases such as diabetes and obesity. Our research using the Auraria Library database to search peer-reviewed literature focused on how stress impacts college students' eating patterns. The literature primarily focuses on populations outside of the United States and impact of meal skipping on adolescents aged 13 to 18. Additionally, we explored other dietary habits associated with stress and meal skipping, such as overeating and snacking on calorie-dense foods. The findings reveal that stress is linked to meal skipping, and this behavior can contribute to poor mental and physical health. Understanding this relationship is crucial to designing interventions that help students manage stress in healthier ways and promote better eating habits, ultimately supporting their overall well-being. Now Whitney will explain the next slide on the association between stress and skipping meals, including findings on the perceived stress scale and the impact of eating patterns on mood disorders.
Hi, Whitney Taylor here. Much of the existing research has found an association between stress levels and meal skipping. Several studies have used the Perceived Stress Scale, PSS, to measure stress levels, and higher PSS scores were associated with skipping meals in undergraduate and graduate student university populations worldwide. A study of U.S. community college students found that as PSS scores increased, the number of meals skipped also increased. Similarly, in a study on medical students in Iraq, researchers found eating less than 3 meals a day was significantly associated with a higher PSS score. These studies highlight the association between skipping meals and stress may be magnified with increased stress. It's important to note some studies have found no association between meal skipping and stress. Research looking more expansively at mental health and skipping meals have shown higher levels of psychological distress, anxiety, and depression may be associated with disrupted eating patterns, including meal skipping. In a robust study, Wilson et al. Conducted an in-person survey with over 2,400 adults and followed up with participants 5 years later to conduct the same survey along with a mental health diagnostic interview. Researchers determined 3 eating patterns based on the interviews. One pattern was the late pattern, which was defined by skipped or delayed breakfast with higher evening intakes of food. It was the only pattern associated with skipping breakfast, and was also associated with a higher likelihood of experiencing a mood disorder. Wilson and other researchers have studied directionality. Does stress cause meal skipping or vice versa? And it's been found to be unclear. Both may be true. There are variations across the research on which meals are being skipped are associated with stress. Breakfast is the most common, but some studies have found breakfast and lunch or breakfast, lunch, and dinner skipping are associated with stress. As Jen mentioned, many of these studies focus on populations outside of the US, so cultural eating behaviors or other reasons to skip meals may be at play and are a limitation of the existing research. Tom shares about more limitations on participant populations in the following slides.
Similar to the studies Whitney was just describing, the relationship between meal skipping and stress has also been observed in other age groups, yet the results were not always consistent. Breakfast skipping was found to be associated with increased stress in adolescents in 2 separate studies conducted in Korea and Malaysia, but the results for dinner differed. In the study conducted in Korea, skipping dinner was not associated with increased stress, while the study conducted in Malaysia actually found that adolescents with higher stress were more likely to eat dinner. These findings highlight the need to not only examine if stress is associated with skipping meals, but also to determine whether associations are consistent for all meals. Another study conducted in Iran, examining this relationship in adolescent girls, found that skipping meals, eating away from home, and eating unhealthy snacks was associated with a higher likelihood of emotional disorders. While this further strengthens the notion that skipping meals and an overall unhealthy dietary pattern may be associated with worse mental health, it is important to mention that significant differences exist between the populations included in these studies and our target population of college students. Adolescents may experience different reasons for skipping meals. Adolescents have different obligations and, in general, lower degrees of independence that may influence eating behaviors. The same can be said about populations from Korea, Malaysia, and Iran compared to the US, further highlighting the need to examine meal skipping in different age groups within the US. The importance of determining the relationship between stress and meal skipping in college students is emphasized further by studies that also examine these factors in relation to snacking behaviors and emotional and mental health. Several studies conducted on both college students and adults outside the US found that stress was associated with both skipping main meals and an increased consumption of unhealthy snacks. Several studies also noted a relationship between meal skipping, snacking on high sugar and high fat foods, and depressive symptoms, with one even suggesting that snacking more frequently may exacerbate stress and contribute to depressive symptoms. While no direct causal or directional relationship was determined, these findings show the possible impact of stress and skipping meals on dietary choices and mental health. They also hint at a possible cyclical relationship between these factors, with increased stress contributing to meal skipping, which in turn leads to increased snacking and worsening mental health. The interplay between stress, mental health, meal skipping, and dietary choices underscore the importance of determining how stress and meal skipping are related in college students.
Hi everyone, I'm Crystal. While Whitney and Tom have so far highlighted stress as a reason to skip meals, this may only be one of the reasons that college students specifically skip meals. College students experience unique circumstances like financial concerns and/or a lower socioeconomic status due to the financial pressures of attending college. They may experience lower levels of food security, and they may experience time constraints due to balancing schoolwork, lectures, work, families, commuting, and other obligations. For example, a survey in Sri Lanka found that out of 148 medical undergraduate students, around 86% of them reported skipping a main meal. The reasons they skipped these meals were their lectures and class schedule, stress and depression, family issues, or other reasons. In the United States, a survey at the City University of New York reported that over 56% of their students skipped a meal. The students at this university that were rated at a higher risk for food insecurity stated that they skipped meals because meals were too expensive on campus, or there was a lack of time to pick up ingredients and/or prepare meals at home. If these students were enrolled in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, students reported that they skipped meals because there was a limited ability to purchase pre-made meals with SNAP funds, or their SNAP funds could not be used on campus. We did find that the study was limited because the author focused on only 22 survey respondents that were identified as being at a higher risk for food insecurity, so our study will further this research by broadening the college student population to determine additional reasons for meal skipping. Identifying the core causes for meal skipping is important because meal skipping can lead to unhealthy eating behaviors that may influence a student's quality of life or influence the development of nutrition-related diseases such as diabetes or obesity. Now to tie this all together, I'm going to pass it back to Jen to talk about our research project.
Now that you are familiar with a bit of the research on this topic, we'd like to explain why we think future research is important. Our team is hoping to better understand how stress influences eating behaviors or vice versa, so campus wellness programs can be directed on how to better support their current students. The focus of our study is to investigate the relationship between a college student's perceived stress and their tendency to skip meals. Our hypothesis is that the higher levels of perceived stress among college students are linked to an increased frequency of meal skipping. We believe that as stress levels rise due to academic pressures, social challenges, and other factors, it may disrupt regular eating habits, leading students to skip meals more often. We've broken our study into two main aims. Aim 1, we seek to understand the type of relationship between a college student's perceived stress and the frequency of meals they skip. Aim 2, we also aim to explore what specific factors influence a college student to skip a meal. Is it stress related, or are there other social, emotional, or situational factors at play? Through this research, we hope to uncover key insights that can help improve the health and well-being of college students and potentially guide interventions to manage stress and eating behaviors. Now I'll pass it over to Lisa, who will explain how we plan to conduct our research and gather the data needed to answer these important questions.
Hi, Lisa Brownlee here. Now our team would like to walk you through how we plan to perform our research. After coming up with our hypothesis and aims that Jen just discussed, we finalized our IRB draft, consent form, and survey questions over the last couple weeks. Once our IRB draft has been approved, our survey is authorized for release. Our estimated time for that is after the commencement of spring semester, which is roughly January 21st. We hope to have our survey open to students through the end of February. We then plan to analyze our data through March and will likely run our data using the SPSS program that's provided to us through MSU. With the termination of the spring semester, our group will complete the Capstone 3 course and present our findings at the Department of Nutrition's Research Day. Our population is going to be college students, as mentioned, and we only plan to include students who are 18 years and older, mostly for consent purposes. I'll review our recruitment process in the next slide, but wanted to mention that MSU students will be eligible to receive a $10 gift card. We are going to recruit participants for this survey in two manners. Online recruitment will be through MSU distribution emails, mainly to nutrition students. We'll also post on social media outlets like Facebook and Instagram with a QR code and a link that will direct students to our Qualtrics survey that Haley's going to better describe in the next slide. We'll encourage students to share their social media posts and emails with other college students. Our team also knows a few other students that are attending college that are not on the Auraria campus, so we'll share those with them and also ask them to share with their college acquaintances. We will also post flyers on the Auraria campus in high traffic areas such as bulletin boards on campus, the student center, cafeteria, lounges, coffee shops, libraries, and bathrooms. Our goal is to have about 100 completed surveys. To encourage participants, we'll be selecting 30 people at random to win a $10 gift card. This will only be available for MSU students who choose to provide their 900 number at the end of our survey.
Hi guys, I'm Haley. To gather our data, we will conduct a survey using Qualtrics. We started with a consent form and a description of the study's purpose. The survey included 23 branched multiple choice questions covering whether participants were over 18, demographic information through 4 questions, approximately 8 questions on meals skipped, and 10 questions from the perceived stress scale. Participants are going to be asked to complete the survey, which will take approximately 10 to 15 minutes. No identifying information will be collected to ensure anonymity, and MSU students will have the option to enter that student ID number for a chance to win a $10 gift card. For data analysis, we'll review the collected data in Qualtrics during Capstone 2 from January to March 2025. We'll then present our findings during Capstone 3 in May 2025. If there are any questions or concerns, participants can contact our project mentor and leader, Dr. DeMarco, directly. In conclusion, our study addresses a significant gap in the current body of research on stress and meal skipping, which has primarily focused on adolescent populations outside of the United States. College students who experience uniquely high levels of stress and frequently report skipping meals have not been adequately studied in this context. Previous research has shown that both meal skipping and stress are associated with other unhealthy dietary behaviors, underscoring the need to explore this relationship further in our study population. Our study aims to fill this gap by investigating the association between college students' stress levels and their meal skipping behaviors. We will use the perceived stress scale to measure stress levels and compare these to students' meal skipping patterns through the survey on Qualtrics, as well as aiming to identify the factors that influence a college student's decision to skip meals. The insights gained from the study could have important implications for campus programs and policies. By understanding the link between stress and meal skipping, our findings may help guide future financial prioritization for campus support services. This will ensure that resources are effectively allocated to support the mental health and nutritional needs of college students, ultimately contributing to the development of targeted interventions aimed at reducing stress and promoting healthier eating behaviors within this vulnerable population. Thank you, everyone, for listening.